Yeah? Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's do this. They're already here and they're all watching
everybody.
with bated breath for our
How you
newest
doing?
episode. I'm sorry we've held you off for about a week. I was a bit under the weather last week. Not a pretty sight. The silver-tongued devil across from me right now is...
I'm Dr. Marc.
And I am Elmer, and we are...
Marc and Elmer's PSI. Piano Scene Investigations.
Welcome on one and all. If you like our program today, you enjoy our company, our topics and conversation, the music, please go down below the video and please like, comment, and subscribe. Today, if you have a birthday today, Thursday, February 26, 2026, you share the same birthday as Leonard Borwick. Born 1868.
I know that name. Borwick?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that name.
Born 1868, died in 1925. He is an English pianist. And following him, not about a couple decades later, is Winifred Christie. Born 1882, died 1965. They are a British composer pianist, this one. And then even later than that, in 1930, the world was gifted with Lazar Berman.
Whoa.
Ooh. Much talk about this.
He came up in the news a bit lately.
Yeah, 1930 to 2005.
Did I send you an article or something that was about him?
You may have.
I got to know... Well, you know, Berman had an interesting history.
Yeah.
He was renowned inside Russia, I mean, even by Richter.
Oh, yeah.
As like a thunderously extraordinary pianist.
Oh, yeah.
Now, when he gets thunderous, it's, to my feeling, different than Ashkenazi for me. I always thought Ashkenazi was a little bit too hard sometimes. Yeah. But Berman, it was like the eruption of his soul. In a sense, probably like Nirachatsi's really big stuff. But he got in trouble sometimes. Like one time he went to the West, and when he came back, he had a book in his luggage that he picked up, which was banned by the Soviet government, and they held him in the country for 10 years for bringing that book in. And he got into some issues once in a while over there. I think it was part of his nature. It's like he didn't even seem to care, and yet I don't think they were going to like send him to Siberia because the guy was... I mean, Richter said, step aside for this guy, you know?
Yes, yeah.
And then finally in the 60s, I think it was, mid to the later 60s, he finally got a chance to really do the West.
Oh, yeah.
America and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
I had, was it Columbia Records or RCA? I forget who it was. I had some different memberships back in those days. You know, they send you something every 3 or 4 weeks or something. Yeah. You send it back, or if you want to keep it.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Well, this was interesting because the box actually... I think it's actually Deutsche Grammophon or something, but eventually this one club I was in, they started to include not just Columbia or RCA products, but a few different things. But it was the complete Anne de Palari
yeah.
with Lazar Berman on album.
Yes, that is a
albums.
Deutsche
And I
Grammophon.
listened to it, and I really remembered. I've been in the Wayback Machine lately, like remembering things that I'd forgotten, like these different people we've been talking about on the shows a little bit. Berman's recording was what kind of got me excited about trying out some of the Anne de Pèlerinage.
Oh, yeah.
And I played some of them on my senior high school recital, I think, with Dr. Webb.
You did?
Yeah.
The Lake of Wallenstein.
And the Orange.
Orange.
Whoa!
Yeah.
God. Yeah. And I was, I heard some things about him that as he got older, he was, and it may have affected things a little bit. But there's a recording, you can look on YouTube.
Yeah.
Van Claveren Van Claveren is the guest and the presenter for a special concert of all these pianists. It was several years ago, but I think it was in Dallas, Fort Worth, where they were hosted. But the amazing thing is, as far as I know, there's one piano on stage. Is there really? I don't know how they might have edited it, this or that. But my God, they had Shure Tchaikovsky who came on and plays, and Lazar Berman comes on and plays. And I just thought, after Lazar Berman played, I thought, I don't want to play after him. Cause
I would not want to play.
Not because musically and technically it was so incredible, but that piano would not have been in great shape after he was done with it. But I forget what it's called, but it's hosted by Van Claveren. He's an older guy, but not like totally all white yet and everything. My guess is it could have been as many as 30 years ago, because some of them people have been around for a while. Berman died in the early 2000s, right?
2005 is what it says.
So, and Tchaikovsky was in this concert too. And there was some amazing bands. You should watch this video. I will look it up, and I'll put the address for it on the screen so you guys can take a look. So,
all right. Anyways, it's all right. Okay, one more thing that we need to do. You know what it is.
Uh-oh.
Okay, where is it?
Uh-oh.
Oh, gosh, that's right. I forgot. It's a little tight now.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so one more time, folks. Once again, Corey Piano Polish. Make sure you have a bottle of this to keep your pianos clean. As we all know, grand pianos with that finish, it can be quite a dust collector. So there you go. And in case you have a non-finish piano, make sure you get a bottle of this. Lemon oil. There you go. All right. So, have you been watching the Olympics?
Not at all.
Not at all? Well, with all the excitement of the Olympics, there was some excitement going on the other side of Italy at Sevilla, I think is what they call it.
Uh-huh.
Guess who was performing?
In Italy?
In Italy. Other side of Italy. Arkady Volodych had a concert.
No way.
Yes.
Well, good for him.
Yeah, it was last Friday night. And
Wow.
I guess it was on last Friday night.
He lives in Switzerland now or something, doesn't he?
Spain.
In Spain. Oh.
Yeah, he resides. I think he's a
Nice.
citizen now there.
Wow.
But anyways, so okay, I was in a bit of a rush last.
So this was video?
This is
or something?
really
You could watch
recent.
it?
It was on YouTube.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but
Wow.
all right. Well, let me explain first. So I got to watch some of the video on YouTube. Okay, and the very first half of the program, boom, off to the races. He is playing Schubert's Sonata in G major, the big one.
I love that piece.
The big one. You know, the one that goes up da-dum, da-dum, da-da-dum, dum-dum, whatever, how it goes. Right? So anyways, so I got to watch it at least, about 5 to 10 minutes of it, and then I had to go off and teach, right? So, can she hear me?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, good.
Just checking.
All right, but anyways, and there ends the story. So I had to put it on pause. I closed up my laptop, went off to teach. I was going to watch the rest of the program later that night, and they took the video down.
Oh no.
Yeah, I was so sad that they did that. I really wanted to watch how the rest of it went, to see if and it was an all-German program. It was all, the first part, like I said, the first half was that Schubert sonata, and the rest of it was either Schumann and Brahms, or perhaps both. I don't know.
Uh-huh.
But he sounded like he was in top form. He's had that Schubert sonata under his fingers for a really long time. I remember when he came out with the CD of it 15, 20 years ago, I guess. So, yeah, it was so refined, so songful, vocal, the melody. It was wonderful. And he also included a few Schubert list transcriptions in the thing. And I think that was pretty much about it. So he had quite a few bonbons on that one.
Wow.
And the side tube with
You did get to hear the whole thing?
I did not get to
not.
hear the whole thing. I only got to leave after 5 to 10 minutes.
Oh no.
So
And they took it down.
and they took it down. Oh,
Why would they
took
do
it down.
that?
I don't
It
know.
was not a legal listing or something?
I don't know. I guess there was some
Somebody didn't
discrepancy with I don't know, with the pianist, maybe the manager or somebody didn't approve. So
Wow.
who knows? But so if any of you know the mystery behind why they took that video down, I'd like to know. So, anyways, aside from that, let's see, what do we have here? Yeah, that was the big one. What else here? Oh, there we go. So, what have you been listening to? I've been having some travel music lately.
Uh-huh.
You want to know what I've been listening to? I found this. This is a Stravinsky CD. All Stravinsky.
He's playing.
The pianist is Alec
Oh.
Karras.
Oh, I know that name.
You know this name?
Yeah.
Oh, this is the first time I've heard this name. How do you know this name?
I never met him personally, but I know this name, Alec Karras. He was
Okay.
Greek extraction, I think.
Perhaps he is.
Yeah.
He doesn't say. I've Googled the name up, and there's not much really on there.
So that's probably an old Bechstein.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely I know the face. I remember him from somewhere. Yeah.
So I'm told he does, according to the program notes, he spends a lot of time in New York now. So he teaches at the universities in New York. But he spends a lot of, I guess he's mostly associated with 20th century music.
I think I saw him.
So he has a specialty in Cage
Yeah.
Elliott
That's
Carter
one of the reasons.
and
That's
Ned
one of the
Rohr.
reasons. Because of my Cage research and my doctorate, I remember knowing about Karras's work. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, Robert Kraft wrote about him, and he's playing piano duets with Robert Rubin.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah. Here, let me show it to you. Apparently, this is a fairly old CD.
Yeah, it looks like 94 or something.
Yeah. This is the back of it. This is the front. Nice picture of the master himself at the piano. Yeah. This is released by Bridge, on the Bridge label,
Mm-hmm.
as in, London Bridge.
Mm-hmm.
So, but anyways, it's a fine CD.
Mm-hmm.
He plays with great clarity. He has the sonata here. Let me tell you what's on the program here, if you want to look at that some more. We have Petrushka, and we have the Waltz for Children, work called Ragtime,
Yeah.
another one called Piano Rag Music. And it's odd. I thought ragtime and piano rag music were the same piece, and they're not.
Ragtime,
So-
wasn't that dedicated to Rubinstein?
One of the two was ragtime or piano rag music. One of the two was dedicated to it, but so was Petrushka.
Yeah. And he never played it publicly.
Yeah. So there's also a work here called The Five Fingers,
Mm-hmm.
which is in 8 movements. And the Sonata, 1926, that is in 3 movements. Strangely enough, he did write an earlier sonata that's in C sharp minor.
Mm-hmm.
And supposedly it has sort of a Prokofiev quality to it. But the later sonata, which is written in 1926, I think we've spoken about this work several episodes ago. He returned to the sonata in its most very, very basic form. It has sort of a Scarlatti-ish quality to it. Much counterpoint. I remember one comment about the work. I don't know who said it. They said it sounded like Bach using wrong notes. So
Piano rag music was written for Rubinstein.
Piano rag music was written for Rubinstein. Yeah. Okay. So, anyways, there was also the Serenade in A, 1925, 4-movement work. That's a work we don't hear very often. That one. Tango. There's a Circus Polka. There's the work called the 3 Easy Pieces, which includes a march, waltz, and a polka. Robert Lubin plays seconda in that one. Then there's the 5 Easy Pieces, which has the Andante, Espanola, Balalaika, the Napolitana. Is that how you say it? I can't remember. But there's also, it finishes with the Gallop, and Robert Lubin plays primo on that one. So, but anyways, it's a fine CD. It's a very fine CD. Every note, you can hear it. It's wonderful. Funny thing about Petrushka, it's so funny. I heard a story from, I think it was about Eugene Ormandy and the Philadelphia Symphony. And, they had performed movements from Petrushka many times. And it was with the under the supervision of Stravinsky himself, giving a few, suggestions that they do this and they do that, And after he had passed away, they decided to do Petrushka again. And during the rehearsal, Ormandy says, "Well, he's dead now, so go ahead and play it staccato." So they did it. So apparently there's some passages that he insisted playing legato, and he says, "He's gone now, so go ahead and play it staccato." So interesting. So, anyways, you can guarantee that would be a great listening experience for you if you happen to find that CD. The next piece of item here is for what you've been wanting to find out what we've been listening to. My wife granted me this for my Valentine's Day gift.
Oh, Aristo Sham.
Yes, the debut CD of Aristo Sham, the most recent gold medal winner of the Van Cliburn competition. There he is. Still a young guy. He entitled this CD Timeline. Timeline. Here, you can go ahead and look at that if you want. Aristo Sham. He starts the CD off with a J.S. Bach's Toccata in C minor, BWV 911. Not the one that starts off with a chord. Ba-dum, ba-dum, da-dum. This one's a different C minor toccata. I was not familiar with this one. He follows that up with Bach Busoni, Vacat of something rather. He plays the Chaconne D minor. And then he follows that up with Brahms Busoni's 6 chorale preludes. That's something we don't hear very often. A very rarely played work. Last time I heard that one performed was the maestro Stephen Hoff down in Pittsburgh. He opened up his program with those works. And then he closes the CD with a wonderful rendition of what I have always said would make a great solo work on piano in some recital, the Hallberg Suite.
You left out the 10 variations on the Chopin prelude.
I'm sorry?
Of Busoni.
Oh, that's on there? Oh, there it is on there.
Yeah.
Okay,
I don't know
excuse
that
me.
work.
All right, the Ferruccio Busoni's 10 variations on the Chopin's prelude in C minor is also on this program as well.
That's a Hallberg Suite.
Yeah, it's an interesting work. At the beginning, he doesn't present the theme right away. He's got about 3 or 4 measures that sort of well, okay, I'll just be honest. It sounds like he's sort of meandering around the keyboard before he starts playing the actual theme, the Prelude C minor. I'm still trying to wrap my head around what that work is about. It's not a very accessible brain-wise, to actually understand the work. Have a listen to it to yourselves, folks. See what you think. But I was more interested in the Brahms Busoni chorale preludes and the Hallberg suite at the end. He plays them simply and very, very elegantly, I thought.
This is an interesting album. I don't watch the competitions that much. I'm busy and doing other kinds of things, and
Yeah.
I when I was young, at some point I participated in some competitions, and I did reasonably well sometimes in certain things. But I think some aspect of it makes me nervous. Just the
Just to watch?
yeah.
That's why I watch.
Well, I don't always know that what they're actually just doing. It's not just a concert.
Yeah.
There's something else there too, and to some extent, I wish they weren't necessary. But I agree. There's some quotes. I mean, going way back to the time of Aristotle, I think he talked about these sports competitions,
Yeah.
which he thought were ludicrous. Or even more so than when they actually did have music competitions and things in ancient Greece. And he said, this is insane. There's, how can you just pick one out and say this is the best one? It's just because people's taste is very different, and each artist is different, all that. But this is interesting because if he loves all this music and this is him, it's a white album. In a way. But this is pretty intellectual stuff. It's very unusual repertoire.
Oh, yeah, it's very unusual.
So the people who come to mind are Huff, maybe, more so Alfred Brendel. I wonder, with all these young guys coming out and doing their thing, and it's the way the world works, somebody dies and they end up on somewhere in that somehow unending iceberg.
Yeah.
Right. Ours isn't melting. I think it grows over time, right? I guess in a way, when I look at this now from my age and point of view, is there's certain places in the world and certain kinds of artists, and one of them passes on, and then who's going to take that position?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Brendel's gone.
Yeah.
He was an extraordinarily, universally, widely active pianist early on.
Yeah.
But then, of course, eventually he got to be the intellectual pianist, And, he had certain traditions that he came from that, that people identified him with, whether he was or not. I'd be interested in hearing it.
Okay.
Because I think I kind of tend towards some of that repertoire. I love Busoni.
Yeah.
And you don't hear it that much.
No, you don't.
And frankly, he's not an easy one to get your head or your hands around in many cases. He's a very driven and intellectual. It was very interesting. This kind of German mind and this kind of craft, power, with this Italian side of him, which is all passion.
Yeah.
And where does his compositions fit in the scheme of things, It's back the same time of earlier Bartók writing and Stravinsky stuff in Paris and things like that, various things going on. And I've always thought Busoni kind of cut his own...
Yeah,
he created his own mold. I mean,
he has.
He's not quite like anybody else.
No, he's not like anybody else. And I'll tell you what, when I have perused through a lot of his music. I have, all right. Much of the harmony that he uses is just is basically thirds upon thirds upon thirds, sometimes fourths upon fourths upon fourths, and everything in between. For instance, even when he writes that fifth sonatina, which is basically the fantasy and on the Carmen themes.
That's number 6.
That's number 6? Okay,
Yeah.
It's number 6, folks.
Yeah.
My mistake, number 6. The very opening, he opens with both hands playing at the beginning with the double thirds on both hands.
Yeah.
Where do you find that? And they're the same notes. It's this A and a C sharp, and both hands are doing this, and then the theme is going on up here with the other fingers, and then there's some, a few mild counterpoint parts coming out of the bottom 2 fingers.
For him,
on the
having been
left hand.
a monumental keyboardist, pianist, his compositions often, like what you're describing.
Yeah.
I can imagine that orchestrated that way with the
it sure could. Yeah, absolutely.
And sometimes, and I think it may be what makes it difficult. And I have a feeling part of the influence which may have made him write the way he writes was his fascination for Bach.
Mm-hmm.
This kind of, in Bach's way, easy crossover between whatever instrumental combination and the keyboard. Or the keyboard, It just, in his day, it didn't matter. He just wrote absolute music in a way that just... That's the great thing about Bach. I mean, that's why you can do anything to it and perform it. Yeah. Anybody can play it.
Absolutely.
I mean, voices or keyboard or whatever. And then you can do things with it. Like Glenn Gould's performance of the Goldberg Variations, or another one I'm going to talk about, or even Rosalind Turek, which is different,
Oh, yeah.
So forth. But Busoni, his harmonic language is moving out there in certain kind of ways, but it's a kind of word that I would want to use. Well, it's like Brahms, kind of a big weight, thick textures and things like that. And then one of the challenges, I think, is despite those large chords in the writing and stuff, sometimes like that, there's a lot of, there's an aspect of contrapuntal interaction.
Oh, yeah.
And you can't take any of the voices for granted.
Yeah.
They're just chords full of notes.
Yeah.
And then there's a melody and maybe a bass and the overall harmony.
Yeah.
No, the voices have more potential independence.
Mm-hmm.
He's not an easy person to approach, but
no, he's not.
My God, some of the best performances of anything I've ever heard in my life. My master's teacher, Howard Karp, I remember performed the Busoni's second sonata, or is it sonata, but it's with violin.
Yeah.
Piano and violin, and it's the theme and variations one.
Mm-hmm.
And he did that with Vartan Manoogian, who was this extraordinary violinist on the faculty. He was Armenian, and he for a while had been Ernst Anserme's concertmaster in Switzerland. But he was on the faculty, and it was one of the most amazing concerts I ever heard. First of all, Manoogian played the Bartók solo violin sonata and the fugue in there.
Yeah.
Hands down, one of the best performances of a fugue I've ever heard in my life. On 4 strings.
Wow.
It was amazing. And then Howard came out and they did the Busoni. And that's a biggish work. It lasts about 45 minutes or something like that.
It does.
It's wonderful stuff. And then earlier than that, one of my earliest experiences with Busoni was an LP that I have, and I subsequently bought it on CD as well.
Yeah.
Of the 6 sonatinas of Busoni, played by Paul Jacobs. Who had been, Leonard Bernstein selected him to be the pianist for the New York Philharmonic Orchestra. And then he developed a reputation playing some wonderful 20th century music.
Yeah.
He did the Chopin, or Debussy Etudes, one of them.
Debussy Etudes.
And then I love the, who's the Winsboro Cotton Mill Blues guy?
The what?
Winsboro Cotton Mill Blues, the 4...
Oh, Rachevsky.
Frederick Rachevsky's 4 North American ballads. That was, I have that too, with Paul Jacobs. That guy just blew me away. He was incredible.
Yeah.
But he was the reason that I first got into Busoni.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, okay. A few voices from the past about this. I remember Earl Wild at his master class. He talked about Busoni at his master class. He says, proceed with Busoni's Bach transcriptions with caution. The works that he did for as far as the transcription of the organ preludes and other such organ works, be sure you have the organ score handy. He says there are a few erroneous notes in it. There are a few. So, other than that, like I said, like he says, proceed with caution. There's also the, what was it? The edition of that he and Egon Petrie had edited the Well-Tempered Clavier.
Oh.
They had edited the Well-Tempered Clavier, and when Egon Petrie was hospitalized, he went. Earl Wild went to visit him, and he says, "Is there anything you want?" He asked him, "Is there anything you want me to do?" And he says, "Do you know that edition of the Bach's Well-Tempered Clavier that I assisted with Busoni, to help edit it and prepare it for publication?" He says, and Earl Wild said, "Yes, yeah, I do know them." He says, "Please, if you find any copies of them, purchase them and burn them." So I myself have seen copies of the work, but I haven't. I've never actually sat down and looked through it. So whatever that's in those works, if you have a copy of the Egon Petrie and Busoni's edition of the Well-Tempered Clavier, if anybody has any idea why he would say burn them, let us know. That's still a mystery to me. Okay, so you now know what I've been listening to. They're both wonderful CDs. Go ahead and pick it up. Alec Karras CD of Stravinsky's piano music, and Aristo Sham, Timeline. I turned my head so the microphone could hear me.
I've got it set so she should be able to. The field. We got this wonderful speaker, or we got microphone.
Mike. Yeah.
Really nice. I forget what her name is.
Oh.
But
kind of looks like a robot.
Well, it looks like one of the classic ones,
Yeah.
I had it set so the field just kind of covered us here, but then the first time that we used her, when Elmer goes up to show you things on the camera, there was no backfield recording.
Yeah.
So he sounded pretty far away.
Yeah.
So now I've got it so it's a round.
Oh, surround.
All the way around.
Okay.
I think there's a slight difference in the quality in that it features everything around as opposed to this. So maybe it's not quite as sharp, but no, she's catching stuff pretty well.
Wow.
Now I had just a question there for a minute.
Yeah.
When Wild said, "Be careful with Busoni's arrangements of the Bach because there's some wrong notes."
Yeah.
So what?
So what?
That would be my response. It's an arrangement.
Yeah.
It's not. Maybe arrangement isn't the right word. It's what's the other word I would want to use? It's not an arrangement. Arrangement is like when Carl Klintworth took Wagner's scores and reduced them down to piano, so that you could play the stuff on the piano. And they're still used in Bayreuth many times as the primary things that the pianists play when they're rehearsing the opera on stage.
Okay.
That's an arrangement.
Yeah.
In my mind. Is it more a transcription? That was the word. Is it more a transcription than an arrangement? In which case, if it's a transcription, Bach's name goes first, and Lord knows I'm sure Busoni honored it considerably. But and for the time that he lived, because you remember he was alive from about the time of Abraham Lincoln into the
Yeah.
1920s or something.
Yep.
And so he lived through the latter part of Franz Liszt's life. They were both active on the continent. Liszt transcribed a number of things by Bach, and it was interesting. Bach was being rediscovered in a way at the time, but that doesn't mean that he was highly common on piano recital programs back in those days.
What, Bach?
Not at that time.
Okay.
Not like it's become.
Yeah.
Bach. Well, let's put it this way: you seldom played Bach. You played Bach in transcription.
Exactly.
And so I just was wondering, I mean, it's a question I would throw out there, is how much in a transcription,
Okay.
the inspiration is the original composer's composition.
Yeah.
But then what that person does with it, they bring their own, maybe change the notes on purpose.
Okay.
You know?
All right. Well, let's take a look.
Are there rules about that?
Well, of course there are rules. Of course there are rules. Okay, look. All right, let's take a look at, for instance, the famous organ work of the Toccata and Fugue in D minor.
Yeah.
We all know it. Yada-dum, da-yum, bum, right? Okay, there's a difference between Busoni's transcription and the Karl Tausig transcription.
Oh.
Now, the Karl Tausig transcription, if you find a copy of that work, the one by Karl Tausig, it doesn't say it's just a transcription. It says freely transcribed for concert use is exactly what the words he uses. So yes, he does take a few liberties in that. The arpeggios are widened to accommodate sort of the piano, to give a bigger sound to compare with the organ. Okay, there's a big difference there. If it says freely transcribed for concert use, Busoni, I've looked at the work, and I'll tell you what, I have a score, and I brought it here a few episodes ago, of his transcription of Liszt's Mephisto Waltz. And
Busoni, yeah.
Busoni's transcription of Liszt's Mephisto Waltz. You know which one it is. It's the first one. And there is at least half a page of wrong notes in it because the chords didn't make any sense if you compare it to the original Liszt. Shoot, you could even look at the orchestral score of it. The chords are not the same. Now, if you look at Liszt's original piano work for the solo piano, he does deviate. It does deviate a little bit from the orchestra transcription. Okay, there's a section in there which is in 6/8. The orchestra does it in 2/4. Okay, there's episodes like that in it. So is Liszt making a mistake putting it in 6/8? Did he mistake it? No, he didn't. He felt like it would be more had more character at the piano. He's dealing with a completely different beast as far as playing the piano and making it more pianistic and more brilliant. It worked. Now, being in 2/4 for the orchestra, it works for the orchestra, of course. Now, but you look at the Busoni transcription of the Mephisto Waltz. My impression was that he took the orchestra version, the orchestra score, and perhaps tried to transfer it to the piano. And there, like I said, if you look at the orchestra score, whether it has the brass section part in particular, where the instrument, the actual written notation is in different keys because we have horn and F, B flat, clarinets, B flat, trumpets. Maybe it was a mistake from that. I don't know. Okay, but for some reason or other, there are at least half a page of wrong notes in that score. So if you decide to play the Liszt Busoni transcription of the Mephisto Waltz, I am with Earl Wild on that. Be sure you have the other scores handy so you can make comparisons as far as how you notate. That's all I have to say about that.
You sure?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to raise a question.
Okay.
Because I started to think then, I'm going to show you some things later.
Okay.
It might be an issue with wrong notes,
Yeah.
but if we play any music on the piano that was written before the very near end of the 19th century,
Okay.
are we not effectively changing the original intentions of the composer, or even the way they heard it or conceived of it, because this instrument didn't exist? The sounds didn't exist. The nature of the piano didn't
Okay.
exist. Brahms himself lived with a straight-string striker right up to the end of his life. He didn't like the new pianos with their cross-stringing and stuff
Right.
like that. So I'm just wondering, by the very nature of taking music from somebody else
Yeah.
and playing it in our time, wow, taking Mozart and playing it in the 21st century, how much of Mozart is still there as he would have thought it, heard it, played it, conceived of it?
Okay.
You know, Beethoven said Mozart played like a stick in comparison, you know?
Okay.
And I was thinking about that recently because of some things I've listened to.
Yeah.
I love the modern piano for what it can do,
Yeah.
and there are limits that I'll take. I remember years ago when I was so excited about Glenn Gould because of Dr. Wynne, and I started to play Bach and things like that.
Okay.
And I started to try to harpsichordize the piano, you know. That was, back in those days, that's what pianists were doing.
Yeah.
Try to play Bach like the piano is a harpsichord. I remember Trudy Faber said to me one time, because I studied harpsichord with her, if you want to play Bach on the harpsichord, or Bach like it's on a harpsichord, play it on the harpsichord. She studied Gustav Leonhard. It was both the harpsichord and organ professor. I studied both of them with her.
Yeah.
So I don't mean to make a big long thing about this,
Well,
but
that's okay.
um,
That's why we have these conversations.
I'm nuts for history. I got really into performance practice for a while. I felt like so much had already been accomplished with Mr. Bilson and his people, his students, colleagues there, and elsewhere in the world, that I started to want to look more into the 19th century stuff, like Schubert and Chopin and
Yeah.
Liszt. Like, there must be differences there as well to hear and to do. And then over time now, the other people have really written the books and done a lot of stuff with it and got access to those instruments. But anyway, just curious. I get it. I get wrong notes and
Yeah.
things like that. But like you said about the Tausig, then in some cases, even if all it says is transcribed, sometimes depending on the piece and stuff, people will add
Oh, yeah.
even interlude sections that weren't there in the original
Oh, yeah,
thing,
absolutely.
to create well, it's their interpretation of the whole thing.
Oh,
Maybe
absolutely.
bringing even a broader imagination to what
yeah.
could possibly happen with it.
Oh, I could cite you Mozart's transcription. Did you know he rearranged Handel's Messiah?
Well, I think I do remember reading
You read
that.
about it? Yeah.
Have you heard it?
No, I have not, but my old college buddy up north has. And he says it's vastly different. He says it sounds more. He says it sounds more like Mozart than it did Handel.
Well,
there you go.
and by the mid 19th century, certainly the later 19th century, and even into the early 20th century,
Yeah.
those performances of Handel's Messiah with a full orchestra,
Full orchestra, yeah.
and hundreds of people,
singers.
Or one time I saw,
Yeah.
no, I was on TV,
Yeah.
the Messiah with the Mormon Tabernacle Chorus and full orchestra
Yeah.
in that space, in the
Yeah.
tabernacle. The original was done, in the mid 17th century, 18th century.
Let them know.
There were 20 singers,
Uh,
appropriately, divided voices and solos. And what we would consider a chamber ensemble.
yep.
And I've never heard it done, but I've known that there are people that have recreated that experience. And I've often found You know, in the performance practice arena, I love Bruno Walter. I mean, just musician and everything about the man and everything.
Yeah.
But, and I love his recordings. I mean, frankly,
Yeah.
the recordings of the 41st Symphony, one of the last ones he did, which is even a video of it before he
Yeah.
had to leave Austria and all that. And then the work that he did after that. But I mean, my God, his orchestra had 90 players in it.
Yeah.
And then you listen to a really well done historic recreation on original instruments, like the Age of Enlightenment Orchestra in
Yeah.
Europe, something like that, a smaller group, and the nature of the woodwinds is different and all that. There's a wonderful collection I have of Mozart with the Smithson String Quartet. It's all Smithsonian stuff. It's put out by the Smithsonian. And one of the beautiful things is what is that? Is it the Clarinet Sonata? Which has that lovely melody. Ya-da, da-dee-da, dee-da-da-da-dee-dum. I forget what the actual composition is called. If it's a suite for woodwind instruments, that's what it is. And there's this one, bum bum, ba-yum bum, ba-dum bum, ba-yum bum. It goes dee da da dee da. It's one of the most heavenly things. It's in the Amadeus film. When Salieri just remarks about.
Is it the divertimento?
It could be something like that. Yeah, it's for woodwind instruments.
Okay.
And there's several movements.
All right. Yeah.
And there's this clarinet solo, but interestingly, it's not a modern clarinet. I forget
Recorder?
No, it was a clarinet predecessor, but it has a German name, and I can't remember what it's called. No, that's way too far back. It's just penetratingly gorgeous, and so simple. Bum, 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 I think it's an octet. And the way that melody just comes hanging out, and that's one of the moments in the Amadeus film with Salieri.
Yeah.
He's
almost
weeps.
enraptured.
He just hears it. And I don't remember exactly how he says this stuff, but I saw the original play off Broadway.
Yeah.
With
Frank Langella.
With Frank Langella. Yeah, he played in Salieri. And I don't know exactly how he says it, but it's at least implied, or you get the idea. This is a direct line to God.
Yeah.
This is God's melody.
Yeah.
Written through this scoundrel, a little creep.
Yeah.
That's the way he presents it in
Yeah.
Amadeus. I think historically Salieri and Wolfgang were fine with each other, but
that was
anyway.
Funny. He's there listening, and he's looking at the score.
But
excuse me.
Yeah.
He shuts the score and walks off.
I'm really happy for the things that I've experienced in my life. It may have broadened me out so far. That, I thought about this recently. Howard had big plans for me in my master's. And I always remember this. If I ever had doubts about myself, Howard Karp, who was colleagues with Van Cliburn, both of them students of Rosina Levine, told me he would call Juilliard to get me into their doctoral program. And I didn't accept because I didn't want to subject, at that time, Robin, my wife, to living in or around New York City or New Jersey in those parts.
Yeah.
At that time, statistically, there's a 50%, minimum 50% chance that she'd be sexually assaulted.
Jeez.
Just by living in the city.
50%.
Every other woman was in some way compromised, Some very violently, some less so, but I didn't want to do that there. And maybe I chickened out a little bit from the pressure, I don't know, but because at some point after that, after I'd studied with Howard, that's when I kind of got into the whole forte piano thing and got into historic keyboards and stuff.
Traditions.
And ended up taking lessons with Malcolm Belson. I met him, and then I applied for the program, and you guys must know the story by now. He was going to take me into his studio, but the soprano Sonia Monosoff, I think her name was, they had a British violinist who came from London who's already been active in the field, and there's only one space
Spot,
usually
yeah.
each year for a performer.
Yeah.
And they decided to give it to violin. I remember Mr. Bilson called me up. He was so apologetic and so kind about it all. So, but, you know, I kind of love it all. Sometimes, then, I think because of the lessons of performance practice, because I think initially, who knows what people were doing early on. Maybe, you know. But over time, I think the scholarship has really managed to capture.
Mm-hmm.
We have the instruments.
Mm-hmm.
And then people
Yeah.
like Malcolm Bilson, who was a magnificently trained musician and pianist,
Yeah.
approached the thing, okay, let's see what it can do. How does it make music? How does it work? And so rather than try to adapt the thing in a semi-20th century way, he approached the instrument and let it teach him how to sing and how to
Yeah.
articulate and
Yeah.
how to do things like that. And I think there have been a lot of wonderful people since that time. It's even moved into 19th century practice and all that. Even though we don't have actual sound recordings of it, and some people would say, oh, you're just making it up. I think in the past, well, way back, that was possible. We didn't know what the hell we were doing. We're curious. But then on the other hand, I was reading this book, which I'll point out later, some concert pianists speaking at the beginning of the 20th century. Some of them remembered the old instruments. Very interesting what they have to say. Anton Rubinstein said that when you hear Beethoven played on Beethoven's piano, it's nothing like what we have now.
Yeah.
I played those instruments. He was born like 1820 or something, right? So they knew there was bridges there, and people heard and knew that stuff. Arthur Rubinstein had a decidedly kind of modernist, actually,
Yeah.
preference for the new instruments
Yeah.
and the new way of playing. Before him, Ignaz Friedman was the Chopin pianist
Yeah.
in the world.
Yeah.
And then he took over that mantle, I think especially when Friedman kind of disappeared and went to Australia.
Yeah.
He happened to be over there, and then the war happened, and then he ended up staying there, living there, and dying there. And Rubinstein talks about Friedman a bit in his autobiography. He's not, dishing him or nothing.
Right.
But he just said, we have different ideas about Chopin and who he was. Friedman, it's ridiculous to generalize, but I'm going to do it anyway. That Friedman looks at the poet, the sprite, the dancer,
Yeah.
the filigree, the Polish maybe light-footedness, and the elegance would have been so part of his character and apparently his personality, who he was. Rubinstein looks at a Polish hero that Chopin also wrote and pretended to be. He wrote to his dad and he said, I want to come back and fight for Polish freedom. And his dad said, come on, you fight the music battles in Paris and do what you're able to do.
Yeah.
And without his dad completely saying, you're kind of a thin, weak, frail kind of guy,
Yeah.
so you're not going to last long as a soldier.
Yeah.
So do what you can do in Paris for the Polish cause. Rubinstein, when he plays that heroic Polonaise,
Yeah. Yeah.
it definitely is. And those wonderful recordings,
Yeah.
as bashy as they are, at the end of his life
Yeah.
in Israel,
Israel. Yeah.
he beats the shit out of the piano and that A-flat Polonaise. But my God, the guy's like 90 years old and
Yeah.
he's still playing like a superhuman,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And remember, it's almost half. I mean,
His
he
eye is
almost-
blind.
He's blind,
Yeah, he's
practically.
blind.
Yeah, so he's
So-
doing it with his eyes. Without,
I'll shut up. I got on a
That's
thing
okay.
there, but this was all born out of that issue that
Yeah.
Earl Wild said. But I just think we make choices now, and we have the opportunity to make very informed choices
yeah.
at this point in our fields that I don't think we had so much access to when I was a student.
Yeah.
It was still a little bit naive and a little bit not
Yeah.
as strongly available and as well researched and tested as it is now. But it's remarkable when you think that what Mr. Bilson is doing and various artists like that,
Yeah.
that may well be more or less how it sounded when Mozart was walking on the
Yeah,
earth.
perhaps. Well,
So
I'll tell you what. There are other options. Okay, you have Bach Busoni, but if you're interested, the other option is perhaps maybe Bach Kempf transcriptions.
oh yeah, there's
Okay,
a
now
different
he
world.
at least plays the organ.
Yeah.
Okay, he actually played the organ.
Yeah, he
And
disappeared for a year before his senior concert.
Yeah.
And Barth, Professor Barth, didn't
Barth,
know where he was.
yeah.
He was playing organ there in Berlin at his
Yeah.
dad's church.
Yeah. And so here you go. I mean,
I played the Jesu Joy Minister Siren at the funeral service, Kemp's arrangement of it. And I had a choice between Myra Hess and Kemp.
Kempf, and you picked Kempf.
Kemp.
Have you played the Hess?
Oh, I did, and I
Okay.
played that many times. Earlier on, that's the one I played.
All right, how do you compare the two? The Battle of the Jesus.
Okay, I would say Myra Hess's version is organistic, but perhaps more influenced by an orchestral conception.
Yeah.
The way she voices things
Yeah.
and separates it. Kempf just adds some stops, pulls out some stops.
Oh yeah.
And just, blast, full
chords.
chords. Boom, 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 boom. But inside that, it's inside that, which an organist can do, I have to be honest, I play the organ and people like my work, and I think I do a pretty good job. But I'm a concert pianist, and I would say I'm not a concert organist.
Right.
Because I admire these guys.
Yeah.
They can do crap with their feet that we do with their hands.
Yeah.
And then they play with their hands.
Yeah.
So they're like, I don't know, like monkeys, where they pick the food up here, they pick it up, they pick it up here, they pick it up here,
Yeah.
And my dad was a really great organist.
Yeah.
And the one thing I didn't like about the organ at the time, which really put me off about it, and I wouldn't say I feel that way now,
Yeah.
because when I play the organ now, I feel more like I'm playing an orchestra. And I can be like a conductor and bring the voices along and stuff, choose things. But the one thing about the organ versus the piano is, with the organ you get what you get until you change it. Where the piano, modern piano anyway, is immediately flexible. You can change things in the flash of an eye, what sound you want to create or anything like that. But anyway, the Kempf, I was looking through some of the other ones. You want to pull that out? No, it's not there. That's not the one. I think I put it back over there somewhere. But
Okay.
I got a little book that I put it in 3-ring binder that's a copy that Elmer gave me of his mom's music.
Yeah.
It's 10 pieces of Wilhelm Kempf that are all his Bach transcriptions.
Okay.
Now, I don't think it's all of them, but there's 10 of them.
Yeah.
He also has Sicilian, which I did.
Yeah.
I transcribed that myself. I like mine better. But both of us, I think, really approached the score. I know the score because it's originally for a
Flute.
soprano instrument, flute or violin or something like that with keyboard. And that's what I actually worked with to create mine.
Yeah.
And I, looked at it and figured out how to play it all together and what to do. And I make some changes here and there for effect because it's also for the piano.
Yeah.
But Mr. Kempf does too.
Yeah.
And he has, in my mind, his version of the Sicilian is more romantic.
Oh, of course
where
it is.
Mine is a little bit more closer to what I felt was the intention.
Within the
but
style.
I can't help but be romantic and passionate nonetheless.
Yeah.
So
Well, you're a passionate man.
I do certain things with it, my version of it. Anyway, jabber, jabber, jabber.
Oh, that's great, though. Oh, folks, I hope you've enjoyed this segment over here. We didn't really give it a title, but it's okay. I think we're fine.
Can I just welcome the boys back?
Oh,
They've been very quiet there.
Oh, well, I'm so sorry.
They came to see you, Elmer.
Oh.
Hello, everybody. This is Dmitry Postnikovich. Hello, Mr. Elmer. I'm very happy to be back here
quite fine.
with you and Marc. Me and Igor, we were in Cyprus.
Oh.
for a big vacation. It was very nice and warm there. We even went swimming in the water. It was a little cold, but not like in Russia, you know.
Oh.
So we had a good time. But we finally came back, and we're going to spend some. I'm going to spend some time here with you guys and with Igor for a while before I go back to Novosibirsk. So, Igor, did you have a good time there? Yeah, Kamaki. Hey, guess
Hey.
what? Guess what, Uncle Emma?
Well, what?
I saw a lot of pretty girls out there in Cyprus.
Oh,
A lot of pretty
yes.
girls. Dimitri, isn't he still a little young for this? No, Marc, a boy is never too young to notice the girls. And frankly, it's better that he notices them than something else.
Oh,
So-
oh
Okay, guys.
gosh, guys.
So say hello. Hello, everybody. Hello, we are very glad to be here, and we've got Turkey with us too.
Hey, Tookie. Hey, Tookie.
But they wanted to see you.
Oh,
When they
thank
came
you.
back, they said,
Bless your heart.
when's Mr. Elmer coming?
Oh, so we're back.
So they're going to watch the show and see what we have to say.
Wonderful. Did you have anything to show, or?
I do. I have a few things that I just
Okay.
want to get out.
All right.
I don't know that this stuff might be thrifterish.
Okay. Well,
But-
all right,
You want to call it that?
folks, new viewers, old and new. We have a segment here. We'll just say it's PSI's High Plains Thrifter.
Hey!
Welcome back. Oh, this is good.
We get to our hands again.
Oh yeah. Oh, very good. Well, folks, welcome to PSI's High Plains Thrifter.
Did you
know
like
the
it,
old
Ed?
MO.
Did you like it?
Not bad.
Oh, yeah.
So it works.
Everybody gets
Okay.
a hat, even Mr.
Yes.
Boston.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
All right. So
So the first thing, I got a few things I wanted to share, but the very first thing I wanted to do was, we talked about this guy last
yes,
show,
we
wasn't
did.
it?
Yes, we did.
I didn't know him. I kind of recognize the last name, but he's a very interesting guy. He's British or
He's
Canadian?
British.
British, yeah.
Yeah.
Freddie Kempf.
Fredddy.
So his dad was German, because of the name, obviously, but his mom was Japanese.
Yeah.
And he was born in England. He won, what's the award?
Well, he
Or
was a finalist
in the
in the
Tchaikovsky.
Tchaikovsky competition.
But the
I think.
audience thought he should have won.
He should have won. He was. I think he's a silver medalist.
So I'll probably put up another picture of him again so you can see him again.
Yeah.
But Elmer loaned this to me to hear. This is his recording of the Goldberg variations of Bach. I have many of them.
Yeah.
As I said, I've played through a number of them.
Yeah.
I don't think I have the courage to play it in public. I mean, it was. Let's put it this way: it's one of those works, which is a real attainment kind of work,
Mhm.
and there are so many extraordinary, platinum standard performances.
Oh yeah.
I mean, everybody thinks about Glenn Gould, you know, but there are a lot of other ones, and frankly, with this one, this is one of the most refined and intimate performances of this work I've ever heard by anybody. Now, I really love the harpsichord of Scott Ross, and I have his
Yes.
performance of this. He was starting a Bach project later on in his life, and of course he got taken out by AIDS eventually. So he never finished the Bach project, but I got a multi-disc one of everything he did, and he's got the Goldberg variations on there. I love Scott Ross and everything he did. I first got to know his work with the complete Scarlatti sonatas. Holy gosh.
Yes.
But then piano-wise, I mean, who doesn't know Glenn Gould? And
Yep.
never to pull away from it because it's a remarkable statement.
Yes.
It's very unique. And there's many other ones that I had, and sometimes pianists do play it much more melodiously and very nice. But he does some really interesting things sometimes. Like sometimes even he starts with a different tempo, and then
Yeah.
as it gets going,
Exactly.
it moves.
He moves it along. Yeah.
You know, and his ornaments seem very organic and unaffected, and not like, here's an ornament,
Yep.
you know, like pointing them out.
Yep.
They're just these little things that just make it a little different in the repetition, and stuff. I wouldn't mind finding that. Now, this came with probably the magazine. Right?
Yes, it is the BBC BBC's music magazine.
So one would imagine you can get it individually, but I would recommend it.
Oh,
It was one of my really joyful listening experiences. I was fascinated with what he was doing.
Yeah. And this was my traveling music for about a week. I mean, and you can imagine, driving on the road and coming home about 9:30 or 10 o'clock at night, and you're hearing this on your stereo. Wonderful. It's a very peaceful moment listening to this. So, what else have you got there?
Okay. So I've got a few things that I've collected here.
Okay.
Two of them is since I've been talking about Mr. Belson.
Okay.
I wanted to see what else there was available because I have very significantly the complete Mozart concertos that he did with John Elliott Gardner, I believe it was.
That's the one.
And I had some separate ones. I even have one. I know it's the sixth concerto that I took to him one time when I was taking lessons. I found it at the local CD shop, and he signed it for me.
Wow.
Now there was one of them. I don't remember which it was, but he actually wrote in it, "Don't play it like this." So I don't remember which it was, but he had a wonderful sense of humor, and it showed the freshness of his work. I mean, I saw some recently. I watched some lectures he did when he's either about to retire or had retired, but he's still at Cornell and hanging around doing things. He's got new ideas, working on things. He really was a researcher and explorer, and really kept going in the field of his music. Well, I found a couple things, and they're pretty expensive. I think I got them both on Amazon. The last three Mozart sonatas with Sergio Luca playing an original 18th century violin that has not been changed. Because a lot of string instruments coming into the 19th century were reworked so they could take more stress and provide more amplification in the bigger halls with the new orchestras and all that. But this was, I forget, I don't remember if it's Strad or Guarneri or Amati or whatever, but he plays, it's like a 1720 or 30 violin that has never been changed, so it's in its original form. And it's very interesting to hear them play. And then the other one I got you to show both at once are the piano quartets in G minor and E flat major that he plays with some other musicians. And might I say something?
Sure.
When I heard the very beginning of the G minor piano quartet, musically, and Mr. Wilson plays beautifully on the instrument. I mean, what was it? Apparently the plan and the idea of it was it could truly kind of sing, unlike a harpsichord. It could really create the sense of a bowed string sound or even the human voice. And I wouldn't say Mr. Bilson, I never thought this about him, he doesn't romanticize at the forte piano, but he does approach it as any musician would want to play as beautifully and as meaningfully as possible. Okay, and I don't want to say this because I really love Mr. Bilson, and it's not really a judgment. It's just like an initial impression at first, maybe a little less than what because I love the G minor quartet, and I've performed it many times. And I have to say, I think it's a very dramatic work, because Mozart uses that key only a few times.
Yeah.
There's the 40th Symphony, right?
Yeah.
Jadadum, badadum, badadum, badadum.
Yeah.
And it's bom, bom, ba-ba-da-dum, ba-yap-ba-ba, da-yap-ba-ba-bum.
Jeez.
And I mean, with my recording of it and the way I like to play it, the way I like to hear it, for me, it's driven and it's dramatic and strong. The nature of the instruments, the nature of the music making
seemed a bit tame
Uh-huh.
to me.
Wow.
It's not a. Again, comparing things that shouldn't be compared.
Right.
Which now mine I approach it because I also when I do play, I've taken things that I've learned like articulation.
Uh-huh.
Many cases I know about. You don't elide from one measure into the next.
Right.
You separate. In some cases.
Yeah.
So I would say I've employed certain things, but I've never performed it on the forte piano, and I don't know what I could do with my ideas on the forte piano, which of course Mr. Bilson instead would say, well, you allow the instrument to teach you how to make music from what you see on the page. But
Wow.
I love the E flat. The E flat was lovely. But the G minor for me seemed a little tame and not as dramatic
Uh-huh.
as I could see with the work. So,
Wow.
but they're wonderful plays, and the slow movement is beautifully played, and the sonatas are lovely as well.
Here's the violin.
You
sonata.
barely see it. It's like their White Album.
Yeah. This was released on the None Such label.
Remember None Such?
That's what it says.
I've
None
got a-
Such.
remember
digital.
them? That was one of the
Yeah.
brands you could get at the Camelot Music back in the day.
Yeah.
They did a lot of unusual repertoire, modern stuff or historic stuff, things like that.
And this is released on the Archive production.
In Germany, Archive, yeah. Hamlet Rilling and all his Bach recordings and everything was often released on Archive. Archive was very specifically a recording label that specialized in historic performances. So then
Beautiful.
I have I picked this up because I remember when I was living in Japan, people talked about him, and I'd known about him in terms of reputation.
Okay.
I don't really know his playing because I don't think I have any, and I haven't had a chance to listen yet. I've been ridiculously busy for a while. But when I was in Japan, I was playing some concerts there, and at the same time, different cities, Ivan Moravec
Yeah.
was playing there too.
Right.
And I remember one of the things I heard that he said by way of, I was working, I don't remember his name, but he'd been a professor from Berlin, I think, or somewhere in Germany, maybe it was Hamburg.
Uh-huh.
But he was stationed for a while in Japan. He was a guest professor teaching there. And somehow he found out about me, and somebody thought we should be together. And I went over to his house and played Schubert songs and stuff for him to get ready to play, sing in recital. But he was going to have a forte pianist, German player, come and bring his instrument to Japan. And they were going to perform together in Kyoto and Tokyo, probably like that. But I helped him prepare for stuff. And he was a really gracious man. When I go to visit, it was a good long visit, and we'd do some music, and then he'd talk about things and ask me about something like that. But he was well placed. I mean, he knew Dietrich Fischer-Dieskau intimately. And he had a voice similar to him, the quality of it. He was a bit older, but at the time.
Yeah.
But anyway, he told me, he said he'd spoken with Ivan Moravec. I think he might have gone to see his concert, but they knew each other in Europe and all this. And he said, Moravec said to him, he said, the only problem is the Japanese only want certain repertoire, and there's certain things they don't want. So they kind of tell you, well, can you play this, can you play? They're very polite about it and all that, but this and this and this. So he had a rather bland concert. It was like the Moonlight Sonata and certain, well-known compositions. I had an issue where I played a concert and I played the 4 Brahms ballads.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those fell flat on their ass in the performance. The audience just like...
Really?
And then somebody came up to me afterwards and says, Brahms is not a big seller here. There's a concerti maybe and the symphonies, but the piano music, we don't get to hear a lot of that here.
Wow.
And that was an interesting thing because I did a few concerts, and when I was there, I present the program. Well, they wanted to, and they were so kind and nice, but they would say, "Well, we think our audiences might prefer this and that." So, do you know such and such? And I said, "Well, yeah, So accommodations that I made to the changes in programs a couple times, and they were right, because if they know the pieces and they played them or their students are playing them and stuff, that's what they prefer to hear. I come on, the Japanese are very sophisticated,
Yeah.
big time audiophiles
Right.
and all that, but
They
Yeah.
don't like the Brahms ballades.
it was not a good choice.
Oh,
I
gosh.
thought I played them pretty well, but didn't come across. But anyway, I
So
bought
who's this?
and there's 3 great concerti, 3 of my favorites.
Oh, wow! On the
Superphone is
super fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Here it is, folks. 5 more bits. 3 concertos: the Beethoven Fourth, the Franck Symphonic Variations, and the Ravel's G minor or G major.
G major.
G major.
Yeah.
Sorry. And this is on the Superfon label. Nice picture in the front.
Yeah, I know the conductor's name, but I don't really know his performances either, but he's quite well known. He's Czech. And
Wow.
this is an orchestra. He worked very busily. I mean, he directed the Prague Symphony, the Prague Philharmonic, and then this orchestra is one that he
Wow.
started with younger musicians, like
Uh-huh.
young professionals.
Yeah.
Put them together and brought them up to a very high level.
Wow.
And I'm looking forward to hearing it because Moravec, what would one say? I mean, as we've said many times, there have been some extraordinary artists on our iceberg.
Oh yeah.
We never knew about them.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, it's like when I get to this, there was a period of time. Remember, we talked about shopping at Camelot Records.
Oh yeah.
And all you could get was American pressings.
Uh huh.
And of the symphony orchestras and soloists and such
Yeah.
who were big in America.
Yeah.
Now they could be foreigners,
Uh-huh.
but they became big in America too, big enough for us to appreciate them.
Right.
It was at some point when I first saw Angel recordings from England,
Uh huh.
Seraphim, same thing,
Careful.
and then Deutsche
The
Grammophon.
font. Yeah.
And all of a sudden I go, who are these people? Who are these artists?
Yeah. I was like,
I mean,
look at the
okay.
fancy cover.
Yeah. And then, really be amazed by the performances and stuff.
Yeah.
But who is this guy? And I suppose, and who's that label that we talked about, which uses all these Central European musicians and orchestras and soloists, and they had this kind of bland
Oh,
name.
the Master Series.
Yeah, the Master
Series.
Series recording. Turns out that these guys bought the rights to this stuff, and he owned a big
Yep.
mansion or something, and
Yep.
used it as a recording studio, and released all of that stuff. But it was post Second World War
Yep.
recordings made by very desperate musicians who wanted to
Yeah.
just play and make a little money.
Yeah.
And the amazing thing was like, damn, that's really good music, man.
Yeah, it is.
Like the Funk and Wagnall's 20 album set that I have that Mom
Yeah.
put together for me from Big Bear. You get it, you get a
Uh-huh.
coupon, and each week there'd be a new record, and you go in and give them the coupon, and you get that record for buying, I don't know, was it $5 or $10 worth of groceries or something? And Mom put this together for me. You know what I'm talking about? That blue box with the 20 albums in it from Funk and Wagnall's.
Yeah,
Back in the
Magnalis.
70s?
Yeah, they'd have those little booklet things.
Yeah.
They
Well,
were
this
like,
was this record
this
set. I
is-
still got it.
yeah.
There. It's an album
Yeah.
or LPs.
Yeah.
There's 20 of them, and it's a variety of stuff and everything. They're all European pressings,
Yeah.
all European artists,
Yeah.
most of whom you've never heard of,
Uh-huh.
and they're wonderful performances. Of
Yeah,
course.
absolutely they are.
So
The Master Series.
Yeah.
With caution, some of the names of the musicians, in particular, Dieter Goldman.
that's right. We talked about
Yeah,
it.
it was the mystery behind Dieter Goldman. I was trying to Google the name and research the name of the pianist, and only to find out all fiction,
Yeah,
all of it.
yeah.
So
This one is not fiction, and I was looking through.
uh-huh.
It was a really good deal. I forget what I paid for it. It's
Oh,
a
wow.
6 CD set. Everything is recorded in Russia, in the Soviet Union.
yeah,
Emil Gilels,
Wow.
playing the 5 Beethoven concerti,
Oh gosh.
and a bunch of sonatas.
Oh
Beethoven.
jeez.
But this is all completely Soviet, recorded, produced, performed
All
there.
of it.
All
Wow.
the musicians and everything.
Who's the conductor?
Yeah, we
Is it
know him.
Radensky or
Kurt Mazur.
Kurt Mazur? Oh my gosh.
Kurt Mazur is a conductor of all of the concerti. And, he famously was the director of the Gewandhaus Orchestra in Leipzig, in East Germany.
Yeah.
And then when the wall fell down, he made a beeline to the west.
Yeah.
And he was the director of the New York Philharmonic for a while.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you might want to show him this. I haven't had a chance to listen to this either. I've been so busy, people. I haven't had a chance to listen much.
Yes.
But I did, what time I did have, I spent listening to Mr. Bilson and Elmer's Bach recording. But I'm looking forward to seeing what's there.
Beautiful. Beautiful. My introduction to Kurt Mazur was going to the library and listening to the complete symphonic poems by Franz Liszt. So yeah, that was interesting experience there. So anything else here?
One other thing, and I suppose I can thrift in my own library, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I did. I did.
Okay. So I mentioned this.
Yeah.
Oh, and this is cool. Look at this.
Yeah. What?
Did you ever hear of him?
Hear of who? Okay. What am I looking at
The
here?
International Preview Society.
The Carnegie Hall Selection Committee report.
Look at the top on the left.
Top
So
of the
where
left.
it's from? Very top.
The Carnegie Hall Selection
No,
Committee.
no. The International Preview Society. See on the...
Oh!
Okay.
To the International Preview Society.
Which were us, the people who subscribed to it.
Wow.
That was one of the groups that I was in. People, back in the day, there were some wonderful opportunities even before that. Like, I think I've showed you the Wisdom magazines from the past.
Yeah.
Or Etude magazines.
Yeah,
that
the
had all
Etude.
that
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Probably what changed is the rock and roll revolution, especially in the 60s and everything, and the Playboy magazine and the whole movement towards popular society.
Yep.
Drugs, sex, the Beatles,
Rock
all
and
this
roll,
stuff. Anything to get women in bed, probably. But if you look at, like, one of my favorite books, or people actually, was a guy named Clifton Fadiman, who was an encyclopedist, who did some work on stuff like that. I forget specifically what he worked for. I'll put it up on the thing. But I have a book of, like, the most 100 most important books to read kind of thing. But I first learned his name a couple cases where he appeared in some black and white informative educational videos that we watched in Monsieur Vance's humanities class. It was this whole American thing of educating the public to beautiful art and great things like that, whether it was American or European origin or from wherever. And I have a Chopin's second piano concerto with Arthur Rubinstein, and I don't remember if it's Symphony of the Air and some other stuff he was doing with, but it's in a plastic coated cover, and it opens up like one of them booklet things, with a recording in it, and then there was a good decent book, LP size, and the whole article was for Clifton Fadiman, and it's all about Arthur Rubinstein, and I acquired it from the public library eventually, but it's one of my classic finds. But anyway, about Clifton Fadiman.
Huh.
All I'm saying is, at one time, there were so many wonderful classical music outlets for people who are passionate and fans about it. So I had a subscription like Columbia or RCA Records or both. Where they'd send you recordings and you'd get them or not. Those are clubs. Then I was a member of this thing called the International Preview Society. I'd forgotten completely about it. I also bought recordings commercially from Murray Hill Records out of New York City. And there were some different things that kind of available where you could find out about them and join them, become a. What was one of the big ones? Musical Heritage Society.
Yes.
I've got a number of old LPs and even some CDs from them, where I was members of that stuff. And then we used to have Keyboard Magazine, Piano Quarterly.
Yeah.
There's another one as well for the. What was the one? Keyboard was for the also for music educators.
Oh.
Right.
Yeah.
But there was
Clavier.
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 Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's where this came from. This is from when I was a member of the International Radio Society.
Yes.
That's the one I was just talking
This
about.
is the one he was.
It's
just
a
talking
Deutsche
about.
Grammophon recording of Lazar Berman and the list on A to play right now.
Yeah, some of you may remember this. Yes. Yeah.
That was a time when maybe historically people might be glad that some of it's passed in a certain way. Let's put it this way. This was a period of time when male dominance, white male dominance, was the big deal. Education was a good thing. Prosperity and working hard, doing well. And then taking those things and educating yourself and availing yourself of fine things in life and all that. It was a certain kind of societal reality. And then, rock and roll really kind of came around in the 50s, but really I think took off. Oh, let's put it this way. Elvis and the Beatles,
Yeah.
between the two of them, melted down world culture and American society.
Yeah.
And one might say, riding on those coattails or with them was, what's his name?
Jerry Lee Lewis.
Well, no, I was going to say the guy that's founded Playboy Magazine, Hugh Hefner.
Oh, Hugh Hefner.
Hefner and Playboy Magazine. Yeah, Playboy Magazine was about, naked ladies, not in the more modern XXX nasty way.
Oh,
It was
so you're talking like
presented
Hustler or
artistically
something.
and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
when you actually read the interviews and the articles in
Yeah.
Playboy Magazine, because the lady pictures were few and far between.
Yeah.
Most of it was a thick magazine with a lot of essays and articles and various kind of things in it, which sometimes, well, more than not, actually, sometimes they were written by really famous journalists and people like that. It was a big deal
Yeah.
to get in there. But, and then there was the drug scene and bell bottoms and all of that kind of stuff. And our society really changed. And Ellsworth used to talk, my postmaster's teacher, and he's flagrantly gay, but he was part of that gay world of men who wore ties and suits and were
Yeah.
elegant and loved nice things and
Yeah.
culture and all that. Ellsworth was not a Stonewall kind of guy. Not the long hair. And,
Yeah.
And that was a whole different aspect.
Yeah.
It still exists. There's still a
Yeah.
very cultivated homosexual community,
Yeah.
which has nothing to do with, rock and roll music and
Yeah.
necessarily drugs and things like that. I'm just, talking about the old times, in the Wayback Machine, and I'm not saying it was all great because there was necessarily suppression of certain kinds of people and various kinds of things,
Yeah.
kinds of attitudes and stuff. I suppose in this day and age, well, not necessarily entirely presently, but one might say reasonably within the first quarter century and the 21st century, we have access to a wealth of different paths and different mindsets,
Yeah.
different things, and perhaps in a way, the pursuit of genuine individual small d democracy is, well, let's say potentially, because right now there is some attempts to suppress certain things, obviously, but we may have more access in individual expressive ways than humanity has ever had, ever in our history, and a certain tolerance and freedom to be and do those things. There's a real
overall with certain people, and it may be why there's certain aspects of our society, not just in this country but elsewhere in the world, where there's a reaction to this because they may feel threatened by there being, well, like everybody has perhaps an egalitarian foot on the playing field, you know.
Uh-huh.
It's not a matter of necessarily dominating anybody one way or another, but you know, typically certain kinds of groups, politically, religiously, and so forth, especially if they lean to more conservative ideals, they're less tolerant, you know. And I suppose the more tolerant a society becomes, the more it can act as a threat to, you know, certain people. It's kind of an inevitability, you know.
Uh-huh.
But anyway, by showing that and sharing those kinds of things, and like, frankly, who I am and what I love and how I love it.
You know,
I was looking, you know where you can only get really great classical music periodicals anymore? England.
England, I would imagine.
And they cost a bit for the subscription to
Yeah.
get them over here.
Yeah.
There's BBC Magazine, Music
Oh, yeah.
Magazine, and there's Gramophone.
There's gramophone.
And there's also called International Piano,
Yes.
or International Piano Quarterly, or something
Yeah.
like that. But
I know exactly.
those all come from England.
England, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there you go, folks. I look at this picture and I keep thinking about that day.
So young.
My dumpster diving days
Yeah.
over at the thrift stores, and I think I brought it in once. It was a cassette tape. It was on cassette tape. It was a released recording from the Everest label.
Oh, Everest! I've got some of their stuff.
Remember Everest?
Yep.
Yeah. It was actually a recording of Nazar Burman.
Burma?
Yeah. And the funny thing about it was all the cover of it, all the pieces were typed like it was using a Pica typewriter.
Yeah.
It was the funniest thing.
Yeah.
And they didn't know they didn't understand the the European language titles and stuff, and so you wound up with Funerari being funeral march, and you wound up with Earl Koenig as the Earl King, and which I guess so, but there were other titles in there that I found very amusing. Is they just didn't make. It just sounded funny, okay?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just so used to listening, remembering the pieces in their original titled form instead of English, So what do you have here?
Well, the last thing that I have, and this is kind of, again, this is like kind of trolling in my own library and such, but
Yeah, absolutely.
I printed this out apparently a while back. It was sitting in the printer and I left it there. But we were talking about this guy in some James Francis Cook.
James Francis Cook,
Yeah.
yes, yeah, absolutely.
So I found this on IMSLP
Yeah.
and printed it out.
Oh, wow.
It's very interesting because it's scales and exercises,
Exercise,
sixths,
yes.
octaves and all that. But it's
Oh,
very
look at
interesting
all
because at
this
the beginning
commentary.
it goes into a deep historical reflection
Yeah.
of the history of our scales in Western music.
Jeez.
And I've never seen him divided up into categories the way he does in there.
Yeah, no kidding.
But the guy's name is James Francis Cook.
Yes.
He was an extremely important, he was busy in lots of fields, but lived amazingly. 1875 to 1960. Professionally, he was busy between Philadelphia and New York. He was a pianist and studied with all that, and he eventually had a studio in New York City where he taught piano and did some voice, and quite well known. He became also extremely well known as a journalist, and then involved in periodicals and such. Wow. He was the editor of Etude magazine.
Yes.
From the early 20th century until about 1950 or mid-50s.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty much, let's say, 45 years he was the editor. And then I found this book that I've had for quite a long time. There was this wonderful bookstore in Springfield, and I can't think of the name right now. I've talked about them before, and I think they're still there.
on Bechtel Avenue. And it was a really cool place because you walk in. It was over in the same area where Arthur Treacher's Fish and Chips was, and part of Snyder Park, and there was a community swimming pool back in there. But there was a kind of commercial building, and you go in this glass door, very high ceilings, so that the shelves went up probably 15 feet.
Wow.
20 feet. I mean, really high ceiling in that room. It was like a big rectangle. It went all the way back.
Mm-hmm.
Midway down, there was at stairs that actually went downstairs was where the cashier was and all that. And then the really cool part is you went down the stairs into the catacombs. There's this kind of basement-like area. I have many, many books that I bought there at different times from these wonderful people who collected things like I do. And my stuff will probably end up being separated and spread to the winds in a similar fashion. You know, I imagine it'll be in used bookstores and people go in and they'll find one of these books on the shelf and take it. This one, I didn't do this back then. Now I have a tendency with the books that I get, and I've been doing it for many years now. I put a plate in it and I write where it came from, or what situation I was in, and the date on it, more or less, for when I got it. But I know that this is from that bookstore in Springfield back when I was in my teens or something.
Wow.
It's copyrighted in 1913 and 1917.
Wow.
This is James Francis Cook. And it's like that other lady's books that we got. But look at, you don't have to read them all, but just look at the kind of people.
It was Harriet something, wasn't it?
Harriet, yeah, that's right.
Oh, wow.
It's all these amazing concert pianists from the later 19th and very early 20th century, because this thing was only published, first time was before we were even involved in the First World War, and then the second time it was copyrighted was the year that we entered the war, the Great War they called it. It wasn't even World War One, because they thought that was going to be the end of all wars. But everybody's in here, and what's really interesting, especially early on, there's a lovely black and white portrait photograph of the pianist interviewed, and then there's their interview as such, and he either does it where they just wrote things in parentheses and it's all them writing, or sometimes he'll write what they said, but it's not like a real interview where it's like ask a question, this and that. But what's really cool is that at the end of each interview is the list of the questions that he asked them. And interestingly, they're not universal. They're tailored to each one of them, probably based upon their individual character and what they were maybe known for, especially, about their attitudes about piano pedagogy and music and this and that. There's some really insightful stuff. Rachmaninoff, as we talked about in the last show, and that was in the other lady's book,
Yep.
was very critical of American teaching at the time, and talks about it. It's really interesting. Rachmaninoff had a very well worked out and specific idea of the qualities that a pianist needs and how they would achieve those things. And he speaks very well about it, and it's very clear. Godofsky is interesting because he talks very fluently about knowing structure in music, and also then about physical aspects of playing and how one, uses the hand and the arm and stuff like that. Somebody very interestingly is Emil von Sauer, who's a little bit older than some of those guys. Like Rachmaninoff was 1873, Godofsky was 1870, but Emil von Sauer I think was 1863. He was quite famous, mostly in Europe. I think he did play in America. He'd studied with Liszt as a young, kind of finished pianist man. He goes into a great deal of detail about the mechanism in playing and things. And a number of the artists talk about technique versus mechanics, which I remember Horowitz sometimes talking about
in an interview. He said most of the time what people refer to as technique is what I call mechanics. Technique is an entirely different thing, and that's what they're getting at in many cases. But I sat up last night for a couple hours until almost 3 o'clock
reading this,
some of this stuff.
Yeah, it's
And,
a very good book.
that book is 108 years old.
Yeah.
Anyway, and it's great shape, don't you think?
Oh yeah, it's a wonderful shape.
And it was fascinating. It was this kind of stuff is interesting. Remember what we talked about with her book and the interview she did with Brailovsky? It's really interesting. It's one thing to hear them play.
Yeah.
It's another thing to hear them speak about music, about piano, about culture, in their own words.
Yeah.
And it starts to fill them out more, I mean, it's something like to look at a picture. When you go to Cracker Barrel restaurant?
Yeah.
And they have them old photographs?
Yes, the other
you look at those photographs, you said, so who was she? What was her life like?
Yeah.
What was her name? Did she have any kids? Did she get married? What does she do with her life? And stuff like that.
Well, I think about that just looking at the items they have on the shelves.
Yeah.
In the restaurant.
How they were
he says,
used?
Who owned that?
Stuff,
who was that person?
Yeah.
He says, it looks very used.
See, this is what we got in common. Just fascination with the things and the stories connected with them, yeah. But if you find a copy of this book, and I'm my guess, he's relatively honored and well known in piano and musical circles. My guess is there's probably even reprints of this thing.
Yeah, I should hope so. Probably in Dover.
May have done it.
Probably in Dover. Yeah.
What did you bring about James Francis Cook that made?
I brought in that. Except it was the original. It was the
original
release. That sucker was like this.
That was
big.
a big oversized. Yeah.
It was like this.
Because actually, the version I have on 8.5 by 11.
Yeah.
You need like those magnifying glasses.
Yeah, those magnifying glasses. But the one I got was like.
Yeah.
This. Yeah. That's the way they used to release scores.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful book, Mark.
Thank you.
It's beautiful. You younger pianists, the standards. I know we have the technical aspects, being new standards, how you play your scales, watching some of these kids, the competitors in the competitions perform. It's practically assumed that they have technique, but there's a segment episode in Rachmaninoff's chapter there. I couldn't help noticing one of the most important aspects of artistic playing is knowing how to phrase. How to phrase how tempo should be treated. If you've ever listened to a Rachmaninoff's old recordings, particularly in the song and pieces where they're very song-like, maybe a Chopin nocturne or even a Schubert Liszt transcription. Note how he phrases. In a lot of it's very vocal. It's very, and it's not strict. The freedom of the tempo. He's free to do whatever he wants, and you would accept it. Even Chopin, in his Chopin playing, I'll tell you what. Arthur Rubinstein, Chopin's playing, according to Marc. Well, even both of us, okay. Arthur Rubinstein definitely reigns pretty supreme, one of the supremes as far as a representative of Chopin. Okay, he once said of Rachmaninoff's playing. He says that much of his Chopin playing he disagreed with, but the conviction in which he plays Chopin actually won him over. So even when he disagreed with him, that's an amazing statement, as good as it can get. So, while Mark is making preparations for our next segment here, I hope you've enjoyed our show so far, our episode of PSI. Like I said, we could always use some more subscribers. Go down below. Go down below. Please like, comment, and subscribe. We sure could use, a lot more of that. Now, my goodness, look at how time flies. We're already an hour and 45 minutes into this thing.
Well, that's because I talk so much.
No, it's okay. It's all good. Did you say you wanted to listen to Aristo Sham this week?
I will have time to if it's okay.
Okay. I'll leave it right here by the mic.
Thank you.
Sure thing. Yeah, I think you'll find this playing intriguing. If anything, the Hallberg Suite. Yeah. I've had several recordings of that one. I had a recording of Ava Canardel playing the Hallberg Suite.
Who?
Ava Canardel. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing the last name correctly, but all right. You can look her up. Her name's Ava Canardel. She apparently she recorded the entire Grieg piano repertoire in celebration of some kind of his anniversary. I don't know, it was death anniversary or his birth anniversary. It was one of those two, but she's apparently has recorded the entire thing. Another pianist, Isabel Murao, Murao. She has recorded quite a bit of Grieg as well. A lot of it. Not the complete, but it was enough to cover about 3 or 4 albums worth of Grieg's piano music. She's from Brazil. She's a compatriot of Guilherme Narvaez. Anybody else I can think of? What's his name? The Italian pianist. I can't remember his name.
Ciccolini?
No, he tied silver medal. He was a tied silver medalist.
Pedroni?
Huh? No, not Pedroni. No, he has this Italian. He teaches now over in Cleveland now. Antonio Papabaldi.
What?
Yeah, Antonio Papabaldi. It's a Pampa-Baldi. Papabaldi. He now teaches up at in Cleveland, and he actually has recorded the entire piano repertoire of Group Edvard Grieg as well. I've heard him play, and to my knowledge, his collection of the Grieg works probably is unsurpassed at this moment. It's very well done. The only one I could probably think of that could probably come close to having equally, probably Leif Oddsness. He has recordings of the Grieg's Ballade Sonata and several other things. So, folks, we're ready to start here. Some of you know this new segment is PSI's Witch'n Kitch'n. Welcome.
I'm really looking forward to this, Mr. Marc. Mr. Elmer.
Okay. So here we go.
Wow. What am I looking at?
Want to show it to him before you start eating it?
Sure. I'm just want to look at it.
This is Mughlai chicken with basmati rice and some of our homemade yogurt.
Homemade yogurt?
Full fat homemade yogurt.
Wow.
Yeah. So, it's an Indian recipe. It's a bit adapted, as often the case with me. Laura actually made it for us, the recipe, and then after we tried it, I have to say I found the recipe itself surprisingly nothing really stuck out that much.
Mm-hmm.
So we added a few things to it, which will, of course, we'll put the ingredients up and then what we did to it. But at the end, I put some sweet curry and a little bit of English mustard and some Indonesian cinnamon in it. But it's a chicken dish. It's got golden raisins, chopped onions, and then, like most Indian recipes, a whale of ingredients, all different kinds of things.
Wow.
And I think it has turned out well now. So
aroma is quite good.
the original creator, well, I don't know if she created it, but she presents it. I'm sorry, it's a bit lukewarm because
It's okay.
Laura took off to go do some shopping.
Oh,
And-
this is delectable. Wow.
So, but the author, anyway, of the recipe is Nigella. You guys know her? Here's a picture for you. Yowza, right? She
Wow.
she's British. Was very successful. I mean, who to compare it to? But like Martha Stewart does everything. You know, not just food, but house everything. Nigel is all about cooking and food and this and that. Her history, she's from a reasonably well-to-do family. She's got Italian heritage in there. Her father was relatively highly placed, I think, as a government foreign or something kind of
Yeah.
employee or something like that. But the important thing, I suppose, is earlier on she was married to, I can't think of his name, I'll put it up,
Okay.
really super wealthy. I think he traded in art big time
Wow.
and was some kind of an investor in this and that. But you guys probably recognize his name even though you don't know a lot of British things. And they were together for some time. She has, I think, at least 3 kids with him. They eventually split up. As far as I know, she's never married anybody else or joined up, but she still does specials and has shows and gets interviewed and all that. But my way of getting kind of introduced to Nigella was when I was living in Cyprus in this lovely apartment, quite spacious for me. It was a large 3-bedroom apartment that belonged to the family of one of my piano students, and they had moved out and built a house outside of town. And there's some wonderful older Turkish big stuffed furniture and stuff. It was a lovely place, and I really enjoyed it. Well, I was watching TV at some point, a weekend or evening, I don't remember what it was. And we had access to European and British stuff living in the Mediterranean. And there's this show, and I think it was Nigella something, Cooks or whatever. This was back a ways. So this was the early to mid first decade of 2000s. She has jet black hair, and then relatively white features,
Okay.
and a very strong nose, and kind of a sharp chin, dark, almost black eyes. Very striking. And blessed by God in all
Okay.
kinds of ways that women would love to be blessed. What I loved about it was about the joy of cooking and eating. And so it would have these little moments, especially like at the end, where she would always be getting up in the middle of the night or something to have a little snack. She'd get in her pantry or the fridge and she'd be pulling something out with her robe and her slippers and stuff and just getting something out and munching on it. But she had a very very down to earth, well, had more earlier on, down to earth approach to cooking in the kitchen. She was a mom, a wife, societally busy lady and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Part of that was probably the packaging,
Okay.
but I think that's kind of what she was famous for.
she's become a little bit more gourmet since she's spread out. She's done a lot of cookbooks. But I think there was one, if I put the title up of it, maybe in a picture, that she's really famous for early in her history because she really laid out in this book everything about eating and cooking and all this kind of stuff. And it had a very meaningful effect on a lot of people. But frankly, living by myself over there and unattached as it was at the time, I developed quite a thing for Nigella because
Oh, gosh.
there was a slight aspect, if you put it this way, not in an all bad way, but there was an aspect about her show which is a little bit food porn.
Oh, jeez.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
They
right.
like sneaking some midnight meals and different things, and she's got a beautiful figure. She's a lovely lady. She's not fat, but she's not super tall,
Yeah.
and she's not a bony lady
Right.
by any means.
Okay.
And the really cool thing is that I joined her online website.
Oh, you're a subscriber?
A fan club.
Oh, okay. Cool.
I don't know that I am now. I think I still am listed with them. But this was back when I was in Cyprus, and I wrote, I said, hello, this is Dr. Marc. I'm a piano professor in Cyprus and saw your show. And I was a little bit honest. I just said, I love that you love food and that you're non-apologetic about eating and enjoying, what you make and serving it. And I love all of that openness about it. And, and frankly, the kind of coquettishness, and the way you're sneaking little bites of this delicious stuff, whether it's a sweet or leftover dinner or something at nighttime, I said it's wonderful just to meet somebody who is so passionate and joyful about food. That's what it's supposed to be. I suppose maybe it's part of your Italian heritage. It's just an expression of what it means. Like Marie and Everybody Loves Raymond.
Yeah.
You solve everything with food. Are you hungry? Here's some lasagna. Here's some ricotta. Or whatever.
You have something to eat.
So you have something to eat.
Yeah.
She wrote me back in the fan website a direct message to me, thanked me for joining and everything, and one might say it's just part of her package and everything. It's a little coquettish.
Yeah.
And she was very excited to hear news about Cyprus and maybe get some dishes from there and things like that and stuff. And I remember some people wrote back, especially one British guy wrote back. He said, You get the queen bee on the first time you join. He was being humorous,
Yeah.
But
Wow.
had I stayed in Europe and who I was at the time. Now I'm an old guy, right? And
Not that old.
But turns out back in those days, ladies thought I was cat's pajamas, And I might have, if I'd had the wherewithal, I might have found a way to make an inroad towards Nigella.
Oh.
She's the one that got away. But the thing is, and I'm not mentioning any names, I did have a relationship with a Turkish woman, and they looked very similar. Like, wow. Which might have been part of the reason why I was attracted to Nigella, because she looked a lot like my Turkish girlfriend.
Turkish girlfriend.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So this is lovely, slightly oriental, a little blood in there from somewhere, maybe from the Ottoman times, and this Mediterranean thing. This thing about Mediterranean women. Spaniards, Italians, Greeks, Turkish, North Africans, if I would
Exotic.
say it was an ideal for me, I love my wife now. She's wonderful and beautiful. But if there's like a part of the world where I think, holy crap,
Gosh, Mike.
all around, something in that water, in that Mediterranean water, that they're just all wow. So, anyway, but
Cheers.
This is her dish. Love you, Nigella. Thank you. Although I did have to kind of fix it up a little bit. Sorry, babe.
He was just kidding.
I'm sorry, it's a little cold.
Oh, it's fine. It's very good.
I think it tastes a lot better than it did when we finished it. I'm surprised with all of the aromatic herbs and everything that's in it. I mean, this is a serious Indian recipe. It's not real complicated. You just have to have access to a bunch of different Indian type ingredients. You can just throw them all in. We didn't expect it to be quite as soupy as it was.
Yeah.
But it does have like quite a bit of chicken broth, and I think it's got half and half or cream, whipping cream in it or something. Very thin. Which I suppose, and then when the chicken cooks down and stuff, there's probably some liquid. But the other thing, Laura added a little bit of a cornstarch mixture.
Yeah.
And put it in this time, and it thickened it up a little bit, so it makes it a little denser.
Wow, I like the sweetness in it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's from the raisins.
Yeah, they're golden raisins in it. And onions. They're sweet onions. But we, didn't caramelize them, but softened them up. Got them golden. Yeah, this turned out
Oh, yeah.
really well, finally.
Oh, I don't think I've had a bad dish here so far.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you're interested in the recipe, you can post it.
It's going to be up there.
He's going to be up there.
And it did, with the additional things we did to tweak it a little bit.
Oh, boy.
I joked with my wife, and she didn't find this that funny, but I said I finally got to tweak Nigella.
Oh, God. Oh, my goodness. My goodness.
We always say this show is not made for kids. What do you guys think? I have to give you some later, Dimitri. Oh, it's okay, Mark. It smells very good. Very good.
Gee, Eager, did you understand anything he was talking about?
Yeah, Uncle Elmer. Uncle Marky. Can you give me a picture of that Nigella lady to put up in my room? He's a healthy young man, isn't he?
Yeah, Eager. Dimitri, you better keep a close eye on that
I
boy.
think he's proud of him.
Keep a close eye on that boy.
Well, look at him. He's gonna be a heartbreaker.
Yeah, I would
Don't you
imagine.
think?
Yeah.
He's a cute, handsome little boy. So how are we doing? Is it about time?
Yeah, it's it's 2 hours and a minute.
Ooh, all right.
So, well, shall we say? Shall we go adios yet, or?
You want to? Maybe.
Okay. Well, folks.
You got a teach?
Yeah, soon.
Me too.
Okay.
What time do you go on?
In an hour.
Whoa. All right.
So-
And it's what, Blackfoot?
Yeah.
Holy smokes. All
So,
right.
all right, folks. If you enjoyed our show today, please like, comment, and subscribe. We have plenty more to show you. Come back and find out what we've been reading, what we've been practicing.
Did you enjoy the show?
Oh, I love this show. I've always had a good time coming here and talking about what we've been listening to. It's wonderful. Anyways, come back for more. We'll have another episode for you and in almost no time. So, hope you enjoyed us. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Tell us to your friends, your neighbors, family, what have you. Meanwhile,
I'm Dr. Mark.
I am Elmer.
And we are Mark and Elmer's PSI, Piano Scene Investigations. Say bye, guys. Goodbye! Goodbye! Goodbye, everybody. Okay, bye-bye.
Beautiful.